Let's play again. In real news, ever since Trump was elected president, major news outlets have been looking for someone to blame. It's progressives' fault. According to Fox Business, Shattered author, Sanders voters cost Clinton the election. No, it's black people's fault. According to Slate, low black turnout may have cost Clinton the election. No, it's Obama's fault. According to the Seattle Times, Obama turned Trump voters cost Clinton the election. No, it's fake news. According to The Guardian, click and elect. How fake news helped Donald Trump win a real election. Snopes even came up with this, a field guide to fake news sites and hoax purveyors. And many other outlets have come up with similar lists of fake news sites. But the lists don't include Fox News, CNN, or the Washington Post, who are all easy examples of major news networks that often misreport news and information, as I reported in many of my previous episodes during the primaries.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
Mr. President-elect, since you are attacking our news organization, can you give us a chance?
Your organization
You are
is
attacking
terrible.
our news organization.
Your organization
Can you give us a
is
chance
terrible.
to ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can
Quiet.
you state,
Quiet.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
can you state
She's asking
categorically,
a question.
Mr.
Don't be rude.
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you
No, I'm
give
not
us a
going to give you a
question?
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
go ahead.
Can you state categorically that nobody... No, Mr. President-elect, that's not
Go ahead.
appropriate.
Oof, it's not looking good for the real fake news. But what exactly defines fake news? Where do we draw the line? It's not enough just to make a blacklist of fake news sites. We really need to have this discussion properly with a clear set of guidelines for what defines a news story versus a fake, commercial, or propaganda piece, which could all have a basis in truth. And somehow, within this context, we need to differentiate independent news media from conspiracy theories and extreme right-wing news media like Alex Jones and Breitbart, which twist alternative media narratives into paranoid delusions.
What do I do, Lord? Destroy the child.
Yikes. Quick, blame Russia for leaking the truth about DNC corruption.
What is it that Vladimir Putin wants?
Trump and Putin versus U.S. intelligence agencies.
Has Putin now put a poodle in the White House?
Russian government hackers had broken into the Democratic Party's computer servers.
Russians.
Russian attack.
Russia.
According to Time, Russia used fake news and propaganda to undermine the U.S. election, FBI says.
But this coalition was to be torn asunder. Already an iron curtain had dropped around Poland, Hungary, Yugoslavia, Bulgaria.
Ah, but this is Europe, you say. But let's see what can happen elsewhere in, say, the small town of Mosinee, Wisconsin. Peaceful, isn't it? But the red truncheon falls and the chief of police is hustled off to jail. Next, public utilities are seized by fifth colonists. Watch carefully what happens to an editor who operates under a free press. He goes to jail, too, and his newspaper is confiscated. Exit freedom of thought. Yes, this is life under the Soviet form of government. The little town of Mosinee made this experiment for 24 hours, a public service to all America. It can't happen here? Well, this is what it looks like if it should.
The Red Scare worked in the 50s, and I'm sure we'd all love to go back to the Cold War and McCarthyism with all that sweet spying and selling out your friends and neighbors. But before we do, let's play again. In fake news, Noam Chomsky calls the Russia scare a joke.
It's a pretty remarkable fact that, first of all, it is a joke. Half of the world is cracking up in laughter. The United States doesn't just interfere in elections, it overthrows governments it doesn't like, institutes military dictatorships. Simply in the case of Russia alone, it's the least of it, the U.S. government under Clinton intervened quite blatantly and openly. They didn't try to conceal it to get their man Yeltsin in all sorts of ways. So, yeah, maybe the Russians tried to interfere in the election. not a major issue. Maybe the people on the Trump campaign were talking to the Russians. Well, okay, not a major point, certainly less than is being done constantly. And it is a kind of a paradox, I think, that the one issue that seems to inflame the Democratic opposition is the one thing that has some justification and reasonable aspects to it.
And here's something you won't see in the real news. According to Counterpunch, it wasn't the Russians. Hillary lost because she blew off Sanders and his voters. Yeah, I can agree with that. Major corporate-owned news organizations such as CNN, the New York Times, and Washington Post all appear to be competing with each other to become the neoliberal Fox News, a less conservative, obstructionist, fear-mongering media. Apparently, this is their only solution to the power vacuum that Fox News has created with a profit-motivated infotainment model of information, where the entertainment is based on feeding our natural addiction to anger.